The one word that will reveal a covert narcissist almost every single time is the word inconsistent. These people are so terribly inconsistent in their behavior, but again, they're good at hiding it. So let's think of this as a massive red flag, only it's well hidden. So I don't call them red flags, I like to call them green flags, or maybe camouflage flags. But the flags are there, but they hide them very well so that you can't see them. But one of the things that I've noticed in my nearly 70 years of experience at living and dealing with narcissists and psychopaths, we're talking primarily about dark triad narcissists. You know, those who are narcissists, those who are psychopaths, and those who are Machiavellian in their lifestyle, their thinking. Those are the people that seem to cause neurotypical people, the rest of us, the most trouble. Look for these inconsistencies. We've got 6 of them, so follow me closely on this. And as always, we typically save some of the best ones till the very last. Number 1 is they are inconsistent in their deception. Now, by that we simply mean that the love bombing stage, those early times when you first meet the narcissist or they have come into your life, and they are grooming you. They are trying to convince you that they are your best friend, or maybe they're convincing you that they really truly love you and you should really truly love them. What they're really after is to scam you, but you don't know that, but because they're such good actors. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all, because the best actor on the planet cannot stay in character all the time. That's why when they make movies, they have to do take after take after take, because the actor doesn't always get it right. Stage play, you can still see when you're watching an actor. Sometimes that real person, it kind of shines through just a little bit, but you can see it. There's a thing called the penumbra. That is to say, it's not what you're looking at, but, let's say, for example, you're looking at the moon at night, full moon at night, and you notice there's a little glow around the moon. That's the penumbra. That's something that's not actually the narcissist, but it's kind of something that you're sensing that is not quite right. And as you get accustomed to it, you begin to pick out and begin to detect what is going on inside this individual's mind. And you can see that in actors as well, which, by the way, is what a narcissist really is. Now, I like to use the example of one of my favorite actors or actress, and I usually get her name wrong, but I think it's Frances Bouvier. Most people know her as Aunt Bee on the Andy Griffith Show. Love watching her because she was such a gifted actor. But the story is, if you read her biography, the persona or personality that she portrayed on the show was not anything like her true personality. This was a businesswoman. They say that she was hard-nosed. If she didn't get along with Andy Griffith, she let him know it. Not at all like the character. And if you watch her character, you might be able to sense. And she was such a good actress that she really hid this well, but you might sense a little bit of obstinance coming through in her personality. So what we're talking about is deception, because narcissists, psychopaths, covert narcissists, they are the ultimate actors. They are the ultimate deceivers. You know, the Bible says that, and this is not a Sunday school lesson, by the way, but it just comes to mind. The Bible says that Satan is, one of his indicators is he is a deceiver. And if that be true, I don't know if you even believe in those things or not, but if that be true, then we could say that, can you tell me if you agree with this or not, that a narcissist is kind of demonic? Actually, we did an entire video on that. You might want to watch that. Number 2, they are inconsistent in that their support for you, their feigned support for you, is really inconsistent, or I would say it's intermittent. Now, the psychopaths, the narcissists that I have known in my life, and unfortunately, I've known more than I care to know, but one thing that I realize is their support for me, because it's fake. it is intermittent. I mean, one time they're there, they got your back, and sometimes it'll go on for days or weeks, maybe even months, usually not. But then other times you turn around and they just gone. They've disappeared. They're out doing something else. They just totally forgot about you. In fact, sometimes they're just silent. They're just quiet. Why is that? Well, it's because, are they hypocrites? Yeah, I think they are. So what we're seeing is, again, we're seeing that camouflage flag. When they're with us, when they're around us, yeah, they're our best friend. But then, where are they? They just disappear. You know, it's kind of like you're depending on someone to be there, and they're not there. And what I've seen in these narcissist psychopaths in my life is it's not just in my life, but it's in the lives of others. And sometimes they even openly boast about it. They brag about it. They think it's kind of cute that someone was depending on them and they didn't show up. Now, I'm not saying that's common for all covert narcissists to do that, but a couple of them that I had to deal with, yeah, they thought it was kind of funny to actually stand people up because, well, they tend to be irresponsible. Number 3 is they are inconsistent in their ability to cover up their affective empathy. Let's go back to the analogy of an actor. So the job of the actor is to act like they care, if that's what their role calls for. So if they're called on to be a very empathetic individual, then they should play that role very well. And I see people playing that role all the time because we go out to dinner usually about once a week. And it depends on where we go, but typically we'll go to one of those restaurants where they have a waiter or a waitress, nowadays they call them servers, who will come to your table, and man, these are some of the sweetest, nicest people you ever meet. Until they get their tip, and then suddenly they don't care about you anymore. They're just gone. They're busy serving, taking care of somebody else. What is that? Well, what they are doing is that the compassion they had for you, where they really cared about your needs, that was all fake. They're just doing it because it's their job. They really don't care about you, and I think most thinking people understand that when they go into a restaurant. You know, this person's just doing their job, and it's their job to take care of you. And when they're done with you, they're not going to take care of you anymore. Well, think of a narcissist as a person who is just doing a job. They don't really care about you. They just want something out of you. The difference between that and a waiter or a waitress or a server is we understand that this is the game we play with these people. These people being the servers, being the waiters or the waitresses. Yeah, we fully understand that, and they're just doing their job. We expect it. And we appreciate it, and so we pay them well, hopefully give them a good tip for what they've done for us. But the narcissist, he or she is pretending to do this out of just absolute pure affection, pure empathy, affective empathy. They truly, honestly, they pretend and care about you. So, yeah, they're putting on an act, but here's the problem. Is they can't always stay in character. The analogy that I've used probably a million times is the example of a dancing dog. You know, you've got this dog that you have trained to dance, and the dog is really good at dancing. Or maybe you've taught him or her little dog to jump through hoops, and they're really good and they're cute the way they do that, jump through hoops. What have you trained them to do? But they don't do that all the time. You know, a squirrel runs by and all of a sudden they're not a dancing dog anymore. They're out chasing the squirrel. So that is kind of like a narcissist. So they're doing the dancing dog thing, but you'll notice their inconsistency. You'll notice that eventually they're back down on all fours and they're acting like their true selves. But they keep that, again, very, very well hidden camouflage flag. But the flag is there. You got to look for it. Now, just because someone is inconsistent, we got to say this doesn't mean that they are a narcissist or a psychopath or a psychopathic narcissist or a narcissistic psychopath, however you want to say it. But all narcissist psychopaths are inconsistent, at least every single one that I've encountered. Hey, look, I'm nearly 70 years old, you know? And over the decades, I've seen a lot of these things. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of sharing with you some of my life experiences, my autodidactic learning, and hopefully that will help you out some. But just based upon what I have observed, and this is what I've seen consistently over and over and over again. Well, number 4 is this. Pay close attention to this one. Number 4 is they are inconsistent when they belittle you in front of you, or usually, preferably to them, in front of others. Your success, when they're talking to you, your success, they don't like that because somebody, well, let's put it in this context. I had a friend one time who was trying to teach me, and I emphasize trying, to teach me Taekwondo. And I'm not very good at that, but nonetheless, he tried to teach me because this has kind of been his life. So I picked up a few things, and it was fun, but he's telling me about this mutual friend and how he told him that I had a very bold personality. If I needed something, I would go after it. And when this mutual friend heard that, he belittled me. He didn't like that at all because he didn't want our friend complimenting me. And that is a narcissist. One of the ways you can test a narcissist is, or suspect a narcissist, is to compliment somebody, a mutual friend, and see how they react. And if they start getting smug or look really disappointed or start putting down that person, that doesn't mean they're a narcissist, but that certainly is, that one I guess we could call it a red flag. Yeah, that's one, like the dashboard on your car or truck, whatever you drive. Everyone drives a minivan these days, or SUVs. The little red light comes on, says, got engine trouble. Okay, so talk to this person that you think might be a narcissist, compliment a mutual friend, and see how they react and see if the red light comes on. I've got several vehicles. I think all of them have a little red light comes on and says, check the engine. I don't know how to get that thing to turn off, but that's got nothing to do whatsoever with what we're talking about. But not only so, but they will belittle you to others, and they will belittle others to you, and sometimes word gets back to you. Okay, again, that's not so much a camouflage flag as that is a really red flag, because if they're bad-mouthing you to one person, chances are they're bad-mouthing you to other people. Number 6 is they are inconsistent in their objectives. Now, what is their objective? They're the pretense objective. If it's a love interest, their pretense is they are madly in love with you, and you are the love of their life. What is the real objective? And to scam you. See what they can do to take advantage of you. And what is that all about? Well, it's about supply. You know that? Supply, what exactly is that? As we say often, supply is defined as the narcissist inflating his or her ego. Anything that inflates the narcissist ego at your expense is called supply. One way they get supply is they pretend that they are your love interest, or they pretend that they're your good friend, or they pretend that they are trustworthy somehow, some way, but it's all pretense and they know it. What they're really doing is they are trying to take advantage of you, and sometimes, as we said earlier, it shines through. The veil may not be totally lifted, but sometimes, if you're wearing clothing that is not thick like this one, sometimes the light will hit you maybe from behind, and say that I was wearing, some white shirt or whatever. Sometimes you can actually see through the shirt because of the way the light penetrates it. So that's the way that a narcissist is in his personality. It's not opaque, it's translucent. Got to see through it, not all the time, but sometimes the light of reality will hit it just right. What are they thinking? The narcissist, the psychopath, is always thinking the same thing. What's in it for me? That's it. That's the world philosophy, their life's philosophy. Doesn't actually work because most narcissist psychopaths I know are failing in life. I know some exceptions, but if they are covert narcissists, chances are they don't have a job, they don't have a stable income, they don't have a place to live consistently. They're always moving from place to place because they don't want to pay the rent, because for some reason that gives them a shot of ego boosting by scamming their landlord. They don't have the ability to get a mortgage. Most of them, some of them do, but most of them, at least the ones I've encountered, don't. And so they're very inconsistent in their objective of convincing you that they're a good person. Okay, that's a camouflage flag. It's kind of hard to see, but sometimes, again, gotta watch for the light to turn the opaque to something that is translucent, then you see it. And if you see it over and over again, pay close attention. Number five rather, is this inconsistent in what I would call unjustified angry outburst. Now we have this emotion called anger for a reason. I think nature put it there by design, or however it got there. We tend to be, things make us angry, and that is therefore our protection. I mean, it's okay to be angry. Well, remember, we're talking about a Sunday school lesson. This is not a Sunday school lesson. But there is a thing in the Bible that says to be angry and sin not. So you can actually be angry, but it's not a bad thing. So even religious people understand that. But there is a time to have a right kind of anger. Well, the inconsistent narcissist will have these outbursts of anger or even rage. But they're unjustified, you know? Well, why do they do that? Well, because their ego has been hurt. Remember, spy is all about inflating their ego. And you put a crimp in that line. You ever been watering your garden and you get a crimp in the garden hose and it stops working? And you get frustrated and you start to shake it to get the crimp out. The narcissist kind of does that. There's a crimp in his ego supply. He gets mad. He throws a temper tantrum. Sometimes it could be a very little thing, and he goes berserk. And again, sometimes there are times when we need to show a little bit of anger. Sometimes we need to show a lot of anger, so people understand they can't take advantage of us. But this goes to the point sometimes of even rage. But there's another type of anger that is just, they just back off. They're not showing anger. It's kind of a passive anger. There's a term for it. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But there's a type of anger where they just get really quiet, passive anger. That could be a camouflage sign if it's unjustified, because it's their ego they're protecting. It's not themselves that they're protecting. It's their ego. Number 6 is this, inconsistent. This is a big one, inconsistent in how they treat other people. So pay close attention. You know, we were talking a minute ago about the waitress when you go into a restaurant. Have you ever observed how somebody will treat somebody who is in a subordinate position? Sometimes they will treat them fairly. Sometimes they will treat them like dirt. Sometimes I know some people who are not narcissists, who are not psychopaths, but they're just not real friendly people. And so that's not a flag. That's not a red flag. That's not a camouflage flag. That's just an odd personality trait. And I wish they wouldn't do it, but what can I say? I do the same thing myself. Sometimes I'll be, my mind will be preoccupied, and I will be as nice to somebody as I probably could be, as I probably should be. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about somebody who actually enjoys abusing the waitress, or enjoys abusing the clerk, or being mouthy to somebody. And I've seen these guys on the other side of the counter. You know, this is the clerk. And you walk into the store, and they're just jerks. They're getting this little ego boost, you know. I don't know why those people even are working the front counter of a store. They ought to be fired, in my opinion, or put back in the stockroom somewhere. Don't have to fire them. Just put somebody who has a affable position in the front of the store. But the inconsistency of a narcissist is this. Psychopath is this. Treat you really good, but other people they don't. You see these people at work sometimes. They like to socially climb the hierarchy, the ladder. And so they want you to be their friend because they want you to be their ally. I never really understood all that. It's probably why I don't do well at the workplace, or any social gathering, because I don't understand that social climbing hierarchy thing. Part of Asperger's, I suppose. But the narcissist, yeah, they will make allies with you, and you say, "Oh, this is my good friend." But somebody else, they abuse. They're very abusive to that person. I recall, first year I was in college, there was a guy, I was on the top bunk, he was on the bunk beneath me. And yeah, we hit it off. We were good friends. But, we'd hang out together and go places together. And yeah, I kind of enjoyed his company, and apparently he enjoyed mine. He wanted to wear my clothes, but I wouldn't let him. I guess he liked my clothes, but he wasn't that nice to other guys in the dorm. At that point in time, I think we had maybe 8 guys in the same dorm room. And he was really nice to me, but there was someone else. For whatever reason, no reason whatsoever, he just didn't like this guy, so he would bully him. And there's nothing wrong with this other guy. Nothing whatsoever. So the point of that is, watch how this person that you suspect may be a narcissist, maybe a psychopath, watch how they treat other people. Sometimes that's a camouflage flag. Sometimes it's just a really bright red flag. Gotta pay attention to that. 2 rectangles on the screen. Let's keep on talking together. If you'd like, all you have to do is click one of those 2 rectangles. That's why they're there, so you can access more of our conversations on our YouTube channel. So just click one of those 2 rectangles and we'll keep hanging out. But if not, thanks for stopping by, and we will see you all